Question again, a question that has been asked a few times. Russ, why did you and Lisa start your own organization? There are a lot of missionary organizations out there, hundreds of them. Um, what Lisa and I feel called to do is to go on a mission trip to the UK and to help organize, to share, let me digress, to help serve those people that are lost and help share the gospel through building relationships. In the UK, if we were just to go do a church plant and invest $100,000 of other people's money into a building and into lights and sound systems and staffing and all that stuff, it would fail and fall on its face. I can almost promise you. In fact, I'll put $100,000 against it that is true. The church in England and the UK and Scotland and Wales and Ireland and Northern Ireland have a long history of churches who have taken advantage, not churches, people within the church that have taken advantage of their patrons and of their congregants. There's been a lot of hurt and dismay when it comes to, pardon me, what the church has done in the way of offending or violating people. And so people have lost trust. And there's no way to just go open doors and slap a tag on it and say, hey, come on. We might get a few people, but that's not going to be the best bang for your buck. That would not be a wise steward with our time or God's money and resources. So we know that we have to go to develop relationships. By developing relationships, share the gospel. By sharing the gospel, bring people into the family of God. And through that, transition and start developing leaders and disciples, or disciples into leaders, and start preparing those people to actually do a church plan. And so if you look at our growth plan, that is, I just described it to you. So that's why we're doing our own thing. It wasn't easy. There's a lot of navigation that we haven't had to do before, and I can understand why people would ask that question. The three that are actually reaching the UK specifically, they're all focused in England, London, metropolitan areas. A few are reaching out to Edinburgh and Glasgow, but those are not areas that are on our heart. And when I've contacted about 5 or 6 of them and really kind of focused in on 3. One said, we have missions in Glasgow and Edinburgh. And I said, hey, we're called to Inverness. They said, we don't do Inverness. I said, could you? They said, no. I mean, it was like, no, it's not going to happen. Okay, fine, no problem. The second one said, we would absolutely love to help you. It's going to take $12,000 American dollars in support. You need to raise that support as soon as possible, get you there, get you serving, blah, blah, blah. And a couple things happened with that. One was they didn't offer any resources. You just got to go out and raise your own support, which is fine. But you would think with the way they said it, they would be like, we're going to get you hooked up with churches and blah, blah, blah. We have an organization. You have a vision and mission. We're going to help you out a little bit. There was none of that. So that's number 2. The third one, by the way, that last one I was just talking about, they wanted $12,000, but we had to live on $1,600 a month. That was including our housing, our food, our transportation, everything. Just figuring in that if we lived in the cheapest place possible, even had a roommate, we'd be upside down about $400 a month. It's kind of like there was a mistouch of reality. The other side of the coin is, I asked them point blank, well, if we're bringing $12,000 and we're living off of $1,600, let's just say $400 goes to fees and whatever else. What are you doing with the other $10,000? And they didn't want to answer, so that took care of that. The other organization, talking with the director of that organization, this organization sounded like they've been through the ringer. And they're actually withdrawing from the UK and are closing their doors. They are closing their doors. I think they said their goal is by the end of 2025, early 2026. They're in the middle of allowing missionaries to get together. So, with that being said, I have an entrepreneurial spirit. I know I totally just butchered that. I've been up for a long time and I'm having a long day. So bear with me. Don't judge me because of a word, whatever. So Lisa and I got together. We're like, let's just do our own. So we developed our own 501c3. It usually takes about 3 months to get that. We got it in 12 days. It usually takes a little while to get funded. It took us just a few days. And when I mean funded, I mean like a couple $100. We didn't put it in, by the way. Other people did. The design of the God's Not Dead Ministries is to be a catalyst for missionaries. In fact, yesterday when we were at ARC during our campaign or during our training, we reached out to a missionary couple that are not a 501c3, and we invited them to join us. And we just said, look, you can use our processing. We will only forward the fees to you for credit card. We won't charge you anything. So basically, if somebody donates $100 on a credit card, the fee is 3%. They're going to get $97. And any fees that it takes to get to them in Uganda, then they end up with $95 of that. There's no interest for us to do anything, at least in this point. We just want to help other missionaries do the gospel because we really don't have an overhead, not yet. We'll have one soon, but it'll be very small. This is not an industrious thing, and nor do we plan it to be. As it grows, it will pay for its own. We'll have to develop a way to do that. So that's why we developed God's Not Dead, to be a catalyst for what we needed to get accomplished and to accomplish what God has set out to give us. Hope that answers that question.